Okay, so we are back with the recording of the dogfight keys now. For this, we're going to do something a bit more different than traditional keying. I have a gamepad plugged into my Linux box, and then I'm going to use this gamepad camera toolkit here, and then we're going to manipulate that to create our cameras, and then to play in the chops network, how to make something usable out of it, because this keyboard I'm not very the controller I'm not very used to. It's a bit it's good for gaming, but not for recording cameras. So to satisfy that, what we're gonna do is I want to have full visibility and a good frame rate while I'm recording this. So if I press play, I'm getting 13-14 frames per second, because I think those particles are being loaded, which is the traffic. So we can ditch that, and let me see. And then maybe we can get rid of the planes as well, because I'm gonna record almost like in real time, so I would like to have something that kind of resembles that. So let's maybe turn off the traffic system here. Let's play it. Still not so, but this the geometry spreadsheet is not gonna help as well. So 20 frames per second. What if we turn off ads, terrain, 20 still? Why is this so slow? It's loading something, which is weird, because it spins quite fast. It's just too many polygons, I guess. That's fine. I think that might do. Well, we can actually let's create our bounding boxes maybe. So that will definitely help with the speed, which we were gonna do anyway. So maybe actually we do that one very quickly in between. Let's dive inside our network for creating the buildings. I'm gonna kill the task, because we already have the bounding boxes at the stage, right? So if I go auto update, so basically I want to be able to bake this section out, right? And then write it out as outbounds. Actually, we almost saved this here, but then I guess we just didn't continue with it. We can even use this one from here. Split models. This is from, did we even, maybe I will remember wrong. No, we didn't write them out. Okay. So we were gonna write it out, we just didn't. That's from 0 to 9, because we had 9 models breaking. So I guess I just have to go save to disk. Oh, I'm not overwriting. No suitable switch. Okay, this is not really. Oh, we're using wedge 2. We're using wedge 1. Oh, we almost overwrite all our buildings. Okay, so I guess we can call wedge 1. Let's create a new folder. I'm gonna create a new folder, because here are my buildings. So I'm gonna call it new folder wedge 1 bounding box, and then in here $f.bgo.sc, save to disk. And this should write it based on primitive number being deleted. So 0 to 9 as we did before. Let's have a look here now. Yeah, we have our bounding boxes. So all we had to do is to create another visualizer, maybe here with a switch, because this is our display, and which is pointing to this. So all I have to do is basically copy paste this, or even actually just do that, kind of go under this, because we need to randomize as well. And we can create another string path. So let's copy paste and call it instance file bounding box, and it was on the edge 1 .pv for the folder. So if I create another instance up here, and bring its input to attribute randomize and just overwrite this name, hopefully that should do the trick, as long as they are kind of overlapping, unless we change something. That doesn't look quite right. Did we change something in the middle? This doesn't feel correct. I need to check from the city source. Maybe that was a different seed, and then maybe somewhere in between we changed the seeds. It is possible. Or maybe the numbers don't match. So let's go to maybe 0. These are wage 1. So this is wage. Oh, it's because I think the way the building, because it. Okay, it's the wedge number, so we probably need to create the because this is not running. It doesn't go. The frame, the wedge number, that may not match the frame number here, because I think it's a bit strange. So basically this is now not a match. It is a match. So this. Well, that's a match. That's a bit strange. This is a match too. Okay, so it's a match. So we are doing something wrong when we load our objects, I guess. Why? Let's check our scatter object. So this should be matching, and it's not matching now. Is it because is it loading a different one? No, it's this guy matches. This one matches. Some of these do match. Some don't. I'm not sure why. Because we rotated some of these maybe building when we baked them out. Not really. Okay, let's continue with the bundle boxes to see there's somehow a misline up somewhere. So that's okay. This guy is not correct. This is number. Maybe there's a mismatch after. There's one half of it's there. There's one is not there. After building 5, they're completely random, so I'm not entirely sure why is that happening. What if we okay, what if we do this then? I'm gonna create a bounding box like that, but I guess we can do VDB from polygons. Let's make the number slightly bigger. VDB convert back to polygons, and we can have some representation like this. Maybe adaptive so it doesn't take so much space, and we can, I'm gonna copy this file cache, take this number and paste this here for our bounding boxes, so we can overwrite with these values, but let's try to get something a bit more reasonable, at least. It has a bit more better shape maybe. Okay, okay, we could do a bit better than that. Maybe BDB reshape STF will inflate the field a little bit more. I guess that might end up resulting in something a bit more interesting. Yes, we can use that. So that's what is our gain. 436,000 polygons as opposed to, still a lot. I'll still like to find it better, as opposed to 780,000. So maybe we do a poly reduce on this one, or let's see, 436,000, 200,000. Doesn't do anything more than that. Maybe a poly reduce on top. To 10%. Okay, these are going to be our low-res models. So I guess let's say out proxy, and since it's loading from the load buildings from 0 to 9, it's going to be definitely a match now. So I'm just gonna save to disk, and we just wait for this to cook. I guess we could use my file cache tool here too, but I didn't launch Houdini from the command line here, so can't really use it. Okay, 6, it's almost there. Now this should give us a major advantage on the speed of the viewport, so we can actually record our videos a bit more proper. And the last building, and done. So now if we go here, I guess now we have our, and now this should match the high res, obviously. These are high res, these are low res. So high res, spin 20 frames, low res, spin a lot more. Okay, so we're good then. Let's bring back our terrain, therefore. Okay, now we're good, right? If I press play as well, okay, we're pretty good. So let's remove the gizmos. I guess we could probably have a bit more. Whoa, this lighting is not working. Okay, so this is fine. So start by plugging your, obviously, gamepad to your PC. If you need to install drivers, just install them. And then what we're gonna do is that I find Houdini to be button sensitive. So for example, with Steam, there was one button that kept Houdini crashing. It was very strange. I couldn't figure out why. So, but it works now. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm going to set up a frame range. Basically, I'm just gonna fly around for 1,000 frames to think that something makes sense. So let's create a gamepad camera, and I guess we can drop it somewhere here, like in my other tutorial, and it's gonna show, let's call this cam 1. So obviously we don't know where we are. Yes, there we are. Okay, so let's go up a little bit. This is not using the camera at the moment, sorry. Cam 1, so we can manipulate its information from its transform node, so we can actually start where we want this to happen. So I want it to start from that corner, so minus 500 maybe, minus 500, no, maybe, yeah, go back, okay, go a little bit more left in my case, further down, okay. So I want to start, you know, like in my video, I want to start from the edge of the map, and I can just kind of fly through. Okay, now if I take the joystick in my hand, let me see if this is gonna work now. guess I need to turn on. So one of the things that you may also need to do is much like you will under the gamepad settings. So now it sees my wireless controller. I'm gonna set that to free mode. At the moment my controls are not working. That's because if I middle mouse click on the gamepad, you're gonna see some information that is coming from your gamepad. If I middle click on the device transform, then it's gonna say something is invalid because these names don't match, because these are the attribute names based on a different joystick, which are for example back and forth LSY. By default that comes with LSX, whatever. But if I click on gamepad, I have something else. So that's where if you click on the these drop downs, you can define what suits for your joystick, which I already have for mine. I set it to axis 3, and my right so I'm not, right now I'm using I have a little gamepad and a little joystick here that allows me to move my camera around. So now the other thing that you should be seeing is that you should open your motion FX view, okay, and click on this flag as well. Not this one. What is it? Bypass export, yes, and then display. So this is going to display and export some information here which you can't right now see, but if I press play it's gonna get better. But first I want to adjust, let's lock this in. First I want to adjust my translation speed. My scene is too big, so my ship is moving too slow, so I'm gonna change it to maybe 10, so that's okay. So that's like say my maximum speed, and rotation speed was a bit too much, so I'm gonna bring it down because it's hard to control. So now I kind of look up, look down. Okay, everything seems to be working. Okay, I can go like this. Okay, so I see that my screen is flickering a little bit. That's because of the distance OpenGL view, minimum maximum. So hit D. That's pretty much the same thing in Maya. Okay, we have this camera because we're looking through the camera. We need to change it from the view settings. I don't want a near clipping like that. It's too short. Okay, so now it should not flicker. Okay, so now the cool thing is I'm going to record this for 1000 frames, so I need to make sure that I set my real-time playback on, and if I press play you'll actually start the information changing here. Where is it? This is okay, it's not exactly doing the right thing. I should be seeing things moving. It's skipping too much as well. This wasn't the case before. I need to figure that out. Why? Give me the style inside. If I press play. I can see the, is it not supposed to? No, it doesn't have to have a record. Oh, maybe yes, maybe it does. Sorry. Yes, I think it does. It's a record. Okay, we're about to break this, I think. It's not working as it should. It was working a bit better in an empty scene, but let me see. Okay, so somehow it's faster now. It's just supposed to be recording slightly better. See, maybe it doesn't fit. This is the output. This is the export. Okay, I think now it's kind of working. Let me press play. No, something is off. Okay, maybe we should try this in kind of this. When I move the joystick, it's supposed to move. It's supposed to record. Okay, maybe we have an error here. Specified channel RB. Yeah, I don't want them. Maybe that's why it's erroring. I don't need these. Let's remove them. Okay, let me pause this and then I'll come back to you because these settings are not working at the moment. Maybe it's related to my current scene being a bit different. Just a second, I'll find out right away. Okay, so because I recorded some time ago, I guess I got messed up with the parameters. So it's the same thing again. Although I was wrong at the real-time feedback because we are recording real-time. So whatever happens, it's just gonna put the output. And so it really doesn't care how many frames per second is playing. Actually, it's recording our motions. And I put the so this guy is allowing the center of the frame to be the current frame, and then this one is for showing the frame indicator. And so what the other thing I suggest you do is to put this to play once. So as soon as you hit the end of the timeline, it's gonna stop recording. So we are displaying the record, so it's gonna show us what's happening with the timeline, and then we are exporting it as usual. We don't need to display this, but we are exporting it to the camera. So if I press play, you'll see that our values are changing. Some rotation values are changing, up and down, left and right, whatsoever. Okay, so now which means it's recording, so which means we can go now where we want to start this race and actually go back to the first frame and start recording. So I'm gonna fly through. I'll try to be consistent. So we're trying to keep a similar speed and flying through the buildings. Gonna make a little turn here, maybe another sharp turn left. Oh, it's getting tight. Dive a little bit, and then maybe turn up. Oh, avoid a collision here. Fly through these buildings. Oh my god, it's so interesting. Okay, and oh, we finished actually. Okay, we finished. So okay, so maybe let's not do that because it was still recording. So we need to do it again. Bummer. So I guess what we can do is that if we turn on the auto scroll, so that's the range we are recording. So maybe let's start again. Let's go to our proper location. So our simulation shows the corner of this guy here, and we want to dive down and record as we press play. Okay, so I'm gonna press play again. Fly through. Dive inside. Oh, that wasn't good. Let's go back again. We forgot to keep a consistent speed. And action. So obviously these keys are very hard, but that's why we're going to use a lot of features from Chops network to actually make something usable out of this. I had a little stop there, but I think it's not very important. Okay, and we get out of the city. Okay, so now I'm going to right click on the record, save data channels, and we can call this under our simulation without changing any frame. Remember, we're still recording, so we can create I think there was a clip folder here, so we can create a clip folder, and then I can say fly through. Okay, so we saved it. So I don't want this anymore. I don't need this anymore. Well, now we can actually load back this. So now what we can do is to get this information and attach it to a camera. and then see what it's doing and how we can make something better out of it to that uses proper information. So we can create a little chop net here, and let's call it flight cam chops, sorry, proper name. And then let's drop in a file swap and load our fly through file, and it's gonna load our keys in here that we recorded. But obviously if we zoom in, these are gonna be some problematic keys that might have a little bit harsh turns and bumps and etc. So that's the part that we're gonna play with the settings. But now first thing I want is to actually export this to a camera. So now I'm going to put a camera here, and I'm gonna call it flight cam. And let's look at through this flight cam. Obviously it doesn't have any settings. So from the chops we can export this using an export. But obviously we need to figure out some of these information to be I guess rewired properly. But for now we can just select the export node. So what we want to export is our flight cam, so we can select our flight cam from here, flight cam, and we want to export TX, TY, TZ, RX, RY, RZ channels. So it's gonna bring it in here, and if I scrub, it's gonna replay our camera. But I guess it's gonna be a little bit too robotic with my unpracticed hands, which brings more interesting things to the table, that we can actually use our phones, gyroscope, etc. to create the recordings. But as you can see, it's so jittery now, so that's why we're gonna play with some of the tools of the Chops network. So first we want to probably resample this. So let's drop in a resample, and I'm sampling this at 48. Change the to cubic, so kind of, I think we can see some of the resulting changes at the beginning and at the end. It's supposed to kind of give a little bit more. I mean, if you can do a mouse over, interpolation method to use when sampling, sample rate. This doesn't really have much effect, but I guess I put this in later before to get some good flow out of it. So the other thing we can do now is to create a filter to smooth out our curves. So let's drop a filter swap, and then I guess we can go by 2. So that should give us, we should be able to see the results before and after, to be honest. So if I disable that, maybe somewhere, I guess I can probably play to see if it's kind of helping. Well, we should probably anyway play real time, so it kind of gives us a better output. But you can already see that it's so much better than hand animating this. There's already some kind of a better flow to it, and it took us such a little time to record a fly through of 1,000 frames. And obviously if you have actual rigs or just practice, maybe you're good at your gamepad, that which will result in much better recordings. Okay, so I guess we can smooth that out a bit more. So if I find some jittery sections, maybe like here, I think that's where we can see the result. So that's before, that's after. So if I go like that, I think it's gonna show better. Yeah, okay. So resampling is gonna give us a bit more samples. If I actually, I think we can, if I resample by 2, that's what you see. and that's almost like how much we could record, but I mean our motion or the accuracy of the device is not so good, but it kind of gives us a bit better solution. But this is basically before filtering, this is after filtering. And if I have to find this section, I think with and without, it kind of, okay, maybe this section you can see there's like a really harsh turn, and then with filtering it's a lot more smooth. And then if you want to make it smoother, go 4, etc., and you get a much smoother ride. Okay, so we can assume that this is now going to be our camera. Obviously, if you play it with some settings to move your buildings around, you may have to create a new camera. This clip will be in the file, but in the project folder, but you may not be able to use this one. So now this is although there's a path to it, it feels very handheld. So what we want to do is to take the output of this and add a little jitter to it. So we can put in a noise. Let's bring in a noise here, and I think we can put it, we'll have to play if we want to add it after or before. Let's put in a maths operator, and we're gonna multiply the output of this with a noise. So I guess that's a bit too much. So if we select our math operator, we want combine chops to be additive, add, and then, so that's kind of shaking too much now. So we can go out into our noise operator and play with our values. Maybe our period is too quick, so if I go 10, I guess we can add to the amplitude a little bit as well. So maybe roughness 1. Yeah, it's kind of given a little shake, which is looking a little bit more interesting. I guess we can, what if you play with amplitude? Press play. Yeah, it's shaking a bit too much now. So let's leave it at 1 maybe. And this information is live, by the way. You can just press play and scrub as you see fit. So as you can see, it's shaking too much. So leave it at 1. And you can see the result live here as well. That's our current result. If I go lower and higher, it's going to change the look of it. Okay, so let's assume this is our camera. What I want to do is to actually put an object that represents our spaceship. For this, what we can do is that we can duplicate this object, unexport obj, no, keep it export, unexport obj flight cam chop, export 1, unexport obj flight cam chops 1, export 1. Okay, so we have a new one, so this should be still connected. Yes, it's still connected. This one is not. So we're gonna call this maybe ship A chops. Ship A chops. And I guess we can now, for testing purposes, we can just put a box and export the values to this box. So let's select the box. Where is the box? Here's the box. Okay, and if I export that, that's gonna put the box right above our camera. So what we need to do is, by using the same keys, we want to add a little bit of a delay. So right before resample, we can add a delay swap. If we go somewhere here, this is gonna put our box somewhere too far down, I guess. Maybe delay by That's too little. Let's put 3. Okay, something smaller. Webcam. I don't see it. Oh, there it is. Okay, it's just too small. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Maybe red as well. I can't see it. Color soap. Let's make this guy red. Let's make this 5 meters by 5 meters. 5 meters by 5 meters. And if I look through the flight cam, if I press play, that's gonna, where is it? Oh, I think we need to put a delay to the camera. That's what we're doing wrong. Yes, because the camera is gonna be at the back. So let's take that guy, cut it, and paste it right there. So if I go like this, and then if I add a delay, all right, it's just gonna be behind. Yes. So if I look through the flight cam now, and it's compensating the delay part, so that's fine. So if I press play, now we'll be following our ship. Obviously, it's just a delay, so it looks a bit too organic, too non-organic. So that's where we need to now, because that's a ship, and so in our ships we can create a lot more interesting noise. Maybe like 6 here, exponent graph 5. Okay, so if it's gonna kind of like do its thing, it's gonna shake a little bit more. Maybe if I go 1. Yeah, okay, that's kind of doing its own thing. And I guess our filter could be less, that's a bit more jumpy. So what I want to do is I want to emphasize the banking here. I think, let me see if we have one. Here, like there's a few bankings here, but it's not doing as much as I'd like it to do. So I'd like to have control over that. For that, we can create a slope operator. Let's get a different branch from under the math operator, and let's change it to acceleration of slope. And I want to get a vector to normalize the output. So let's bring it in here. So the vector, I want to normalize A, which is an tx, ty, and tz. So it's going to create like our vectors, right? And then I want to create a channel wrangle to emphasize some of my values, which is another, if I can show only the certain graph per single. I want to, because I'd like to show the graph by channel name. Can I select one here? This is which one, TX, because I don't want to show TX, I want to show RX, but I guess I can just show everything. That's TY, RY. Okay, let's just show everything, all scope channels. So I want to get my T times equals 30 here. Then I want to rename which I think we can see them here if you do a middle mouse. This is gonna, so here I can select my rename node. So I'm gonna rename everything to normalized y and normal y and z. Sorry, that one is x. Okay, and then a little lag to this as well. Did I not connect it properly? Yes, I did. Okay, so let me see the the visibility works in a bit of a different way, so you can see the difference. Like in outside, you can only visualize one thing of a single object, but here you can visualize every layer. Okay, and what I want to remove now is to delete. This is how it's supposed to work. It's been a while since I did that part. Rotation Z, I want to remove. If I remove rotation Z, it doesn't rotate on Z axis anymore. Now this is the part I am going to merge it back to the stream. Because here I have now an X and Y and Z. This is what I'm exporting. And I am reordering after, because it kind of gets mixed up here. I can show you. I need to check with my older results, but no, this is what I want to see. Remove it. Here is because I have, it starts with T, RX, and SX. Here I remove the RZ. So if I go here, it's gonna get a missing order. So, but I'm supposed to be renaming something. Oh, this is the part I made a mistake, because I rename everything to, and then I get the third one, which is my Z axis vector coming from here, but I want RZ. So here it kind of gets RZ goes at the bottom. That's why I'm using reorder to put it back in order, pretty much, and use character pattern. So TX, TY, TZ, I want as usual. RX, RY, RZ, I want X as usual as well. So now if I do a middle mouse here, it should be in order. Now if I press play, it should be banking more. It's not banking more. This we'll have to check that. Or is it? Let me see. It's actually not doing anything. Okay, I guess that's going to be one of the things that will have to come back as well. Or maybe I hook it up outside. No, I don't think so. This is the part where I need to properly plug that in, I guess. That's where I'm missing it to be done properly. However, what we can do is that we can at least bring in our ship so it doesn't look like a box. We probably can do this in the buildings traffic system. Another box here, yeah. So you can call it spaceship. I guess ship look dev. Ship look dev. So let's dive inside. Okay, I'm going to drop in a file swap. Ship look dev is here. So basically, I start from Alembic file. That was some model I modeled long time ago in Maya. So let's put it in to show you what it is. And I don't have it here. Where do I have it? Because I moved it to my original folder, I guess. Chase ABC Speeder 5, I believe. Yes, so that's the file. So that's the model that I modeled some time ago. It's all yours now. There's a little cockpit in it. Some of my earlier ZBrush tests and whatsoever. I like the little practices in modeling, but for us to be able to use this Alembic, we need to end up with something like this. Because this was a Maya model, I had to move this around quite a lot to make something usable out of it. Where is the Alembic? This is the Alembic. So let's plug that in, and I'll show you. We don't have to redo these things because just like modeling and cutting and chopping, it's quite an easy thing to do. I mean, for this tutorial's sake, you should be able to do these things anyway, because the tutorial itself is a lot more complex. So what I'm just gonna do to make sure that this also works is actually to move this in the proper folder. So if I chase the projects, tutorial, ABC, and we'll call this create a folder Speeder. Okay, so we can paste it from there, from this other scene. So if I chase ABC Speeder, copy, ABC Speeder, paste. Okay, let's update the path to our current version. Okay, and so basically what I'm doing is I rotated 180 degrees because that wasn't pointing, I don't know, it was pointing, it's still pointing in the wrong direction, but I split it. It's an Alembic, so it comes as a default pack, so I unpack it, so it comes in polygon soups now. Here I created, because it's coming from Maya, and it's coming from an Alembic in Maya. Alembic by default creates these path attributes. I think you don't need to, yes, you need to add, I think that should be the default, but let's check. Alembic. Yeah, it's on by default. So based on the Maya outliner, it gives you a path, basically, shape with naming, spaces, etc. And because the way I modeled it like some attributes that I can use for shading to be easier. So this attribute wrangle creates a new material called attribute called material, and it's using the split expression vex function to split a string into its subsections. So the way it works is that you feed in the attribute and then you tell it how you want to split it, and -1 basically returns the last one, because I'm always interested in ID metal shape, ID dark metal shape, ID hot metal shape, etc. There's one that's sneaked out. So what this does is that it kind of creates me a new attribute with all the attributes. So now I can at least know how many shapes have plastic, how many metal, etc. So we can name this split attribute. And then in here I create a local variable for the material swap, so I can use the partition make local variable. So if you do a middle mouse here, there's no variables, and if you do a middle mouse here, we have a variable map which is the material. So we can use partition to create groups based on those unique attributes. But instead of creating 21 polygon soups, it's just going to create us as many as unique values there are. So it's called create material groups. Here I convert to polygons, so we'll have polygons now. So here I selected this section and I named it emissive. I made a little mistake there. And then I am assigning, basically if I go to ship look dev, I should have a shop network here, And I have all these materials, which you are free to do with whatever render you choose to use. Ship, dark metal, plastic, etc. So you can assign these materials. I don't think I am assigning them somewhere else. Actually, I am reassigning them. So that's what I'm doing. I'm assigning the materials to it. And I create a grid here somewhere. I'm not sure where. Why do I have a grid here? Because I'm putting lights there, I think. Or just give them a... Oh, yes, that's important. So I want to put guns here. So I need a, because it's a very curved object, right? So I need to be able to tell my guns which way is forward. So what I did is here I created two grid aligned properly, single polygon, because I need the normal value of this to be able to shoot my guns. And I just give them a group attribute names, gun A, gun B. So I'm gonna merge this. And then I selected some more polygons. I believe here I gave it, yes, on the edges, side lights. And then I did some connectivity, and based on connectivity, I am creating some color variation on all these disconnected areas. So how are we doing that? If we need to have a look, let's look. Connectivity based on polygons figures out if your polygons are connected or not, and if they are connected or not, each connected version gets its own. I think I did this on the points. Let me see. I ran it on the points. Yes. So it creates a class attribute and says this object has 3,431 polygons that are self-connected to each other. So then what I'm doing is, because I modeled this in Maya using it, and I don't think it was symmetrical, so using a clip swap based on the x-axis, I cut my object in half, and then I use a mirror swap to create it. Oh, actually, this is a mistake I'm doing here. This should do the trick, which is doing the trick here. So something fixed here. That's good. So now I know that it's completely symmetrical. I am creating some of my normals in case something is broken. Then I run a clean swap to see if there's anything needs to be cleaned, and which cleans pretty much a lot of stuff. So here is my the values from my bad modeling skills, and after the clean swap, everything is pretty much half. And then a bunch of UV operations that creates the UV layout, which we can have a look. Once the operation finishes, meanwhile, how long we're recording for? Okay, it's gonna get close to an hour, so I think we should give it a break as well as soon as this is over. Okay, it's taken a while. I didn't have proper UVs. I actually don't have a texture on this, so I probably didn't have to UV it anyway. %66%. If another, oh, that's a lot of UV layouts. That's strange. I should have a look at what's going on here, honestly. Oh, this is because based on group names, I suppose. Group UV layout. Okay, let me kill this. Where am I? The ID middle shape. Okay, yes. And then I am defaulting them to different sections. Yeah, that was doing the right thing. Except though, there is no UV layout 6. There's no UV layout 7, so we can cancel that one, and then it's removing attributes that I don't need, and I actually bake it. So what I can do is that I probably have a baked version of this from the other main master scene. So let's go there, and it's under geo baked ship here. Is it one? No, that's correct. So let's copy this, enter our scene under geo, paste, and load it in. Okay, so this should have now UVs, etc. Yep, we have some UVs which is coming from all these operations above. Then I'm rematerializing them for I don't know why. I guess figured out that some materials felt better. These parts are really not so important. I am subdividing here once. I guess I didn't want Redshift to do the sub D. So this was the part that I am creating a little Boolean operator to create my missile silo, but this was just a detail. I didn't end up using it. And I clip again because I thought I broke some stuff, I guess. Create a mirror again. Baked shipped one. So that's the other one where it's coming from. Let's take that as well. So we exactly have the same model of us. Baked shipped one, BGO, copy, geo paste, and I will load this in from sci-fi chase tutorial, geo 1, reload. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, these are the thruster parts which I don't need at the moment. So I have a BGO now that I know that is good for rendering. So what I need is that, because this is my look dev scene and this is my ship A, right? So we're gonna select this guy, we're gonna call it ship A, and I know that this is gonna get a lot of let's maybe move this here. It's because we're gonna create like thrusters, etc. for the ship, so this is gonna get a lot of extra nodes connected to it. So let's create its own section, ship A, and if we dive inside, so we can replace our box with our proper object. So let's drop in an object merge here, and we are gonna pin this, okay, and go inside ship look dev, and I want ship out. That's fine. So if I close it, if I close this, look through my camera, hopefully that's where I expect to see my ship here, and it's there. It's just that it's right above our head, which means our distance was too small. It's kind of going, so we need to put a bigger delay to our camera. So this is our first ship. There's going to be another further down the line. So if we press play, feels like they're going to be too slow actually. This one's shaking a bit too much. Not really happy with that. So I guess we can go down to, so yeah, this guy belongs here. Actually, it's almost like it drives it, so it needs to be on top. I think we can go less with our noise. Okay, I think it's too big. That's what's going on. We need to scale this down. Ship, look there. Transform. Yeah, our ship is huge. So let's go here and then maybe make it smaller. Yeah, so if I go down to ship A, it's gonna give me its size. So that means now it's too small. Okay, maybe our city is too small. Maybe let's go 5 times. 0.5, let's make it half the size. Still kind of feels big. Let's do a middle mouse click on it. It's 5 meters wide, 5 meters tall, 2 meters, so that's probably okay now. Okay. Kind of actually, well, I mean, it kind of feels big, so I think the best way to check it is to check it against the proper models and the other car sizes. It kind of feels bad, quite big. But is it? No, not really. Okay, it's a good size. It's just maybe we're getting too close to the edges. Okay, and so we start from frame 100. I guess we can set safety to 100. Okay, so this is our ship A. So what we can do now is to create a ship B. And this is gonna be named ship B. And we can copy paste this, create a new one, call it ship B chops, and I'll put it to ship B. And if I hide this, I should be seeing this guy, but I'm not seeing it. Oh, because I'm not exporting it properly? Oh yes. Ship B. Is it exported? Yes. Ship A is here. Ship B is not visible. It should be the same thing. Where are you, ship B? It is supposed to be right on top. I just don't see it. It looks like it's the correct values. Okay, let's hide this. Okay, we just need another ship that has some other offset, but it should have worked. I don't understand why it's not visible. So they're supposed to be overlapping each other because their values are same. Yes. Maybe we need to create that from scratch. Kind of breaks itself maybe into this object. No, this breaks. Yeah, this cannot do that. It creates nuns. Px is a 0. No, but that's normal because the original location. But this should give us the proper value. Well, okay, I'm going to stop the video. We can continue in the next video. So the next video we're going to create our second ship as well, and then obviously play with our settings to add some more banking which we failed together to do here, and then we need to create our automated machine gun system for the ships and preparing some simulations for the next lesson. Thank you. Just let's before forgetting, let's save this as, now we can call this dogfight CT. Let's just call it dogfight. Okay, now I can